Here we are again, tip number 85, with the lovely Richard S. Long again. Now, I have a question for you, and I have to tell you that we haven't rehearsed these questions, so he doesn't know I'm going to ask him. Okay? It's much better that way, much more spontaneous.
Yeah.
So, Richard, what are you doing? What are you involved with? What are you doing at the moment? And can I have a part in it, please?
Me too.
Don't forget about Shane.
At the moment, I'm knee deep in a very interesting story about a very dominant and powerful woman that lived in New Zealand very briefly until she was in her early 20s, and somebody I met in 1980, 1979 I think it was, and became...
It's a New Zealand film.
Well, it's a kind of quasi-New Zealand American film. And became an incredibly powerful, dominant force in the media as a camera woman.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, and
Is that the one you've got over in America with Cliff Curtis attached?
well, I'm talking to a few actors. Yeah. And,
He's so modest.
well, I mean, you don't want to give too much away. God, you're putting me under the spotlight now.
Well, can you just let me know when casting happens?
Well, Margaret Moth was somebody who we all probably remembered from the early 90s, who was tragically shot in the face in Sarajevo and had been a very dominant kind of feature of CNN's foreign desk.
Oh.
The story basically starts with her in Sarajevo. That's where it opens, in Sarajevo. And she had been there for a couple of weeks. She had worked with Christian Amanpour and other journalists from their stable. She meets with this tragedy, and then we go all the way back to the beginning, where I met her in Dunedin when she was working for DNTV4 back in the 70s.
So it's a documentary, or is it a drama?
No, it's fully dramatised.
Oh, lots of jobs. It sounds like lots of parts in there.
Yes, lots of really good. So basically, half the filming will take place in the Southern Hemisphere, and the other half will take place in America.
Wonderful. That sounds wicked.
Yeah.
Any English people in it at all?
There are some scenes in London, and there's scenes.
Can it be a bit better, the part you offered me, than Mrs. Brown? You just
Mrs. Brown. Look, if you had played Mrs. Brown, I think you'd be a millionaire by now.
Oh,
you?
you think so? Oh, okay. Damn. Okay, I think we're probably at time. So, thank you so much, Richard. I haven't finished with you yet. Don't go away yet.
Even more. You put the lights on me. Oh.
Thank you very much, and see you in the next tip. Thank